What is going on, you guys? It's your girl Diana, back at you with another YouTube video. These 7-star Delphox raids are set to start this Friday, so of course today I'm going to be going over some of the best counters that me and my stream came up with so that you can take down these raids as easily as possible. So let's go ahead and hop into it. So per usual, let's go ahead and take a look at what we can expect to go up against when we do actually hop into these raids before we get into all of the counters. So of course, Delphox is going to be level 100 since this is a 7-star raid, and normally Delphox is a fire and psychic type Pokemon. However, it will have that fairy tera type during these raids, effectively making it a fairy type. And considering that all of the past 7-stars that we've had up to date have all had their hidden abilities, it is most likely going to have the ability Magician, which means if this Pokemon has no item, it's going to steal the item off of a Pokemon that it hits with an attack. However, it has been brought to my attention that this particular ability doesn't actually have any effect during Tera raid battles. So if Delphox does have the ability Magician, we won't have to worry too terribly much about it actually stealing any held items that you might want to put on your Pokemon. That is, unless it uses a very specific move, which we will get into in a second. When it comes to Delphox's EVs, you can definitely see that it is a special attacker with a special attack stat of 114 and a special defense stat of 100 and a speed of 104. So it's going to be a bit of a speedier Pokemon, and it is going to hit you hard with those special attacks and be pretty bulky on the special defense side, which means you're most likely going to want to bring physical attackers considering that its defense stat is only 72. Moveset wise, I can definitely see them putting Dazzling Gleam on there considering it is going to be a fairy tera, and this is like the one fairy type move that Delphox actually learns. Other than that, I can definitely see them going for a hard-hitting fire type move like Overheat and also a hard-hitting psychic type move like Psychic. They're also most likely going to put some kind of coverage move on Delphox. I can definitely see them going with Solar Beam just to account for any like water types that you might want to bring, considering that it is most likely going to use some kind of fire type attack. But Delphox does also get access to grass type moves like Grass Knot, ghost type moves like Hex, and even electric type moves like Thunder Punch. So there's definitely a good amount of coverage moves that they can toss on there, but I feel like something like Solar Beam would probably be the most likely. Either that or one of the ghost type moves that it has access to. Delphox does also have quite a few setup moves. It does get access to Nasty Plot, Reflect. It also has access to moves like Will-O-Wisp to nerf those physical attackers that you're going to want to bring. And even its one other fairy move besides Dazzling Gleam, Charm, which also lowers your attack by 2 stages. In my opinion, if they are going to give it some kind of setup move, I can definitely see them going with something like Calm Mind, or of course Nasty Plot, or even something like Reflect. However, the one move that everyone has been buzzing about is Magic Room, which is a psychic type move that Delphox also gets access to. And if this move is used for 5 turns, all held items that your Pokemon are using will have no effect. So if you're putting Shell Bells, Citrus Berries, Life Orbs, Choice Specs, whatever you want to go with, none of those are going to have any effect for 5 whole turns, essentially rendering them useless since you most likely want to end this raid before your 5 turns are up, since we're trying to get out of these as quickly as possible. So if it does get Magic Room, considering that its ability Magician is kind of rendered useless in this raid, then we might still have to worry about our held items. But now that we have a little bit of insight as to what exactly we're going to be going up against in these raids, let's of course go ahead and jump into the counters that me and my stream came up with so that you can try to take these down as quickly and easily as possible. So starting off with our attackers for this raid, up first we have Iron Thorns. We did only build physical attackers for this particular raid just because, as you saw when I showed you the EV spread, that is going to be Delphox's weakest point, whereas its special defense is definitely pretty bulky. So you can definitely bring special attackers to this raid if you want to make your life a little more difficult, but I definitely recommend sticking to the physical attackers. But of course you want your Pokemon to be level 100, so we do have Iron Thorns at level 100, and Iron Thorns is typically a rock and electric type. Ignore the Teras on these guys as well, since ideally you do want to take out the Delphox before you have the chance to Tera. Specifically, if you are going into these raids with a group of people, I will come out with a solo build as we get closer to the raids as well, so stay tuned for that video. But for its item, we have it holding a booster energy, which is of course a consumable item, so even if we do have to, for whatever reason, deal with Magician somehow magically working in this raid, or if it does use Magic Room, we won't have to worry about our item getting stolen since it is a consumable item that literally gets used up the second that you hit the raid. which of course boosts her energy, is going to activate Iron Thorns' ability Quark Drive, which boosts its most proficient stat, which EV spread wise, we of course maxed out its attack stat and its special defense stat, since Delphox is also a special attacker, and we gave it an attacking nature. So the attack stat is going to get the benefit of that Quark Drive ability. And when it comes to the moveset, we went ahead and gave it Screech, Heavy Slam, Sword Dance, and the last one doesn't really matter, so it's just Sandstorm. You're gonna want to focus on the first 3 moves. So Screech of course is there to lower Delphox's defense stat even more. It is going to be lowered by 2 stages. Heavy Slam is of course going to be your attacking move of choice, considering that it is a steel type move, and Delphox will be a fairy type, so it will be weak to Heavy Slam. And Sword Dance to of course set up to make that Heavy Slam hurt even more. Our next attacker of choice is going to be Cerulege, which is also level 100 and is typically a fire and ghost type. Once again, the Tera type doesn't really matter, and we also don't have an item on Cerulege since we didn't really see a need for one, and once again, we won't have to worry about it getting stolen. But if you guys have any suggestions for a held item for Cerulege, feel free to leave them down below in the comments. Ability-wise, Serena of course has the very handy ability Flash Fire. I realize I just called Cerulege Serena, but I nicknamed mine Serena, okay? Just roll with the punches. But in case you are not familiar with Flash Fire, what the ability does is if you are hit by a fire type move, that fire type move is actually going to be absorbed, and instead of taking any damage, it's actually going to power up your own fire type moves. So definitely a handy ability when going up against a typically psychic and fire type Pokemon that is most likely going to be using some type of fire type move. EV spread wise, we went ahead and maxed out its attack stat as well as its HP stat and gave it an attacking nature. And moveset wise, we went with Iron Head, Bitter Blade, Sword Dance, and Clear Smog. Iron Head is once again going to be your attacking move of choice since it is a steel type move and is going to be able to hit Delphox for super effective damage. Bitter Blade is there in case you do need any HP recovery. Since we don't have an item on Cerulege, Bitter Blade can definitely come in handy in a pinch. And of course, it is going to get powered up as it is a fire type move if Delphox does hit Cerulege with any fire type moves itself. Sword Dance is there to once again set up, and Clear Smog is there to take away any stat boost that Delphox might give itself with a setup move like Nasty Plot or Calm Mind. So 2 pretty straightforward attackers in my personal opinion. I know they're both Violet exclusives, but realistically they are fairly easy to get if not by raiding online or just by trading with someone that does have Pokemon Violet. Which if you do need help finding someone to trade you for one of these Violet exclusives, feel free to hop into my Discord as we have a ton of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet players in there as well. As for support Pokemon, our first support Pokemon of choice just happened to be Skuntank, which is a poison and dark type Pokemon, which we do have a citrus berry on Skuntank for some HP recovery. That is assuming that it doesn't somehow get stolen. EV spread wise, we went ahead and of course maxed out special defense and HP. And moveset wise, we went with Acid Spray, Helping Hand, Snarl, and Screech. So obviously Acid Spray would be more helpful if you do end up bringing a special attacker, since that is going to lower the special defense stat. So Acid Spray is definitely there as an option if you do want to bring special attackers instead of physical attackers. Helping Hand is there to of course help out your attacker. Snarl is there to lower the special attack of Delphox since it is a special attacker. And once again, we do have Screech on there to lower Delphox's attack. So realistically, if you do go the physical attacking route, the easier route, like I said, you are going to want to focus on Screech, Snarl, and Helping Hand. And another great option that we have as a support Pokemon is going to be Doxbun, which Doxbun is a pure fairy type, and we also have a citrus berry as a held item. But what's great about Doxbun is its ability Well-Baked Body, which very similarly to Flash Fire, instead of taking damage from fire type attacks, if it is hit by a fire type attack, its defense stat is actually going to be boosted, which of course Delphox is a special attacker, but it's always good to not take damage from fire type moves. EV spread wise, we went with the same as Skuntank and went ahead and maxed out HP and special defense. And moveset wise, we have Snarl, Helping Hand, Mud Slap, and Rain Dance. The ones that you're going to want to focus on are definitely Snarl to once again lower that special attack, Helping Hand to set up your attackers, and realistically Rain Dance would definitely be a good one to have on hand if you do want to lower the power of those fire type attacks that Delphox will most likely be using. But there you have it. That is what me and my stream came up with as some of the the best options to take into the Delphox raids. As per usual, feel free to leave your suggestions down below in the comments, whether it comes to held items, movesets, or just completely different builds for different Pokemon. I would love to hear what you guys have in mind. But that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for today's video. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful, and if you did, I kindly suggest that you consider subscribing so that I can continue to make content for you guys. And if you are already subscribed and you would like another way to support the channel, feel free to check out the merch store. There is a link down below in the description that takes you to not only my merch store, but also all of my other socials so you can keep up with what I'm doing on a daily basis. But thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to those of you who have joined the channel as members. I appreciate you all so much. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.